So I'll get started then. Thank you for making the time again, Dr. Mofokeng. So we'll start with the softball question. So we only know what we've read of you in publications and the media, and half the time, our colleagues in the media can get things wrong. Could you offer some first-hand insight into why and how you got into politics? What inspired you to join COPE specifically and run for the position of the Gauteng Premier?
Well, I'm a generation of the 76 uprisings, and I have been watching politics even when I was at school. My majors were subjects like history and so on. And, the whole thing that motivated me to be in politics, it's actually influence from the friends. And I then had interest in participating in school politics, and then later I participated as a member of SATU because my background is teaching, and that's how I started.
Interesting, thank you. Hey, now into the meat of the interview. Should you be successful in the upcoming elections and become Gauteng's premier, what are the top 3 sectors whose reform or improvement you will prioritize?
This province has been the second biggest economy in Africa, not only in Africa, Gauteng only. That was prior 1994. And today it is, the whole country is the third biggest economy. That shows that something went wrong. We have to focus on growing the economy. And that is where we have to start. The problem is that we had so much influx of people, and people that we called middle class, going into government, for positions, going into government to be employed there. And many had forgotten that it is not government that is actually growing the economy. It is small business. It is companies that we found them to be there. It is so sad that, we have in this country companies like Sasol, for an example. Sasol is the #1 taxpayer in South Africa. And Sasol, in all its outlets, has employed over 30,000 employees. Now, this is a company that is so much technological. It is a company that when we can actually push our young people to go into, they can actually come up, with flying stars. This is a company that is South African. It is built by the blood and sweat of South Africans. And, all those big companies like that needs to be maintained. We just have to make sure that they are running, all of them, The parastatals are so important to this country. Now, I will start there. For example, having mentioned Sasol, I'll make sure that the diesel that we produce from Sasol supply Eskom. I don't see any logic of us avoiding to give Sasol, our own oil company, a chance. And depending on all the oils that comes from outside Africa, some are coming from Nigeria, some are coming through Swaziland and all those kind of things, through the port of Maputo and so. Now, that is where it starts. We must ban our own diesel so that our own people can get jobs. Once you do that, you increase jobs in ESCOM, you increase jobs in SASO. Now, the second thing that I think needs to be done to stop this flow of economy is to make sure that we don't allow companies to just sell their stakes to international companies. Let me make an example. We have a company called Imperial that was sold to Dubai Ports World. The company is called Dubai Ports World. Why will you take such an important asset that is moving, goods from the Durban ports, Cape Town ports, inland, into deeper land and so on, and just give it away for foreigners to run and make money out of it? A company that was built by the sweat and tears of South Africans. Now, we should have looked into how do we maybe dismantle such a company to bring in, local and Black people to be part of that, to strengthen it. Because you took that and then it affected our Sportnet. Everything that we did was just wrong from the onset. And it is time for us, Congress of the People, to focus into that and make sure that these international companies give birth to SMMEs, to our people, so that they can have a stake on. I was talking about a company called Imperial that has been sold. And this is a company that has been moving goods to the amount of 31 million tons, inland. Now we sold it. And then where are the truck drivers? Who are the people that are offloading? Who are the people that are packing these goods? Where are those people? We are actually creating these problems for ourselves. And the lack of foreign investment, Rorisan, is actually one of the main problems that we are having. This country has partnered with China vis-a-vis, who China has partnered with, because China has partnered with the likes of America, the likes of Europe, but we go and partner with China. It doesn't make sense. The investors are in those countries, and they are the people that are investing in China. We have a lot of labor, the same way China has, and we can take care of the entire Africa and be in control. Today, you no longer get people coming from Malawi, coming from Zambia to stock in South Africa and going back to their countries. Why? Because we have actually dropped the ball and stopped manufacturing our own things. So the second important thing is this point of manufacturing. South Africa has to be turned into a manufacturing country. We've got the capability. We've got warehouses that are standing empty in all the industrial areas. You can count them all. They are standing empty, but we are having political leaders going up and down, and enjoying aircons in their offices, rather than looking out there to say, let me rather go and get countries investing in South Africa. We've got the land, we've got everything it takes. Why are we not wearing our best suits and go and talk to investors? Because without foreign investment, we are not going that far. But, we must also be smart to say, how do we bring our people in that economy that if the investors comes? Other countries will tell you it's compulsory for locals to have a stake in whatever company that is coming. We can match companies that we have with international companies that are investing here. But the most important that we shouldn't forget is to realize that we have to concentrate on the middle class, Rorisan. The middle class are the most important people that we shouldn't leave out. The present government has ignored and left out the middle class. Now you have 55,000 of the middle class running to be employed by government, taking huge salaries there, over $1 million and 2 million and all those kind of things, instead of using the same middle class, because those are your thinkers, those are people that can run at their own companies, they can run SMMEs. You should actually put most of your investment in the middle class, grow the tax base, because these are the people that are paying tax for us. And then once you have grown the tax base, then you know that all the families of a middle class are actually have been grown quality. You have grown the quality and the quantity of these families. Now, why am I saying middle class? The middle class are the people that are actually keeping an eye on what government does. And they will tell you if you are wrong, they will tell you if you are right. They don't ask for your vote, they don't beg for it. They will actually come and assist with the kind of education and skills that they have to build a country. And as they do that, they pull the poor, because they are now going to create jobs for the poor. They are now going to make sure that the poor are employed. They are actually being developed skill-wise and so on. But what we see in the country, we see most of political parties abusing the poor because they want their vote only. You know, for them to not to do, they want the poor people's vote. They want to keep us as ignorant as possible. But we are saying, invest your monies, subsidize companies that are coming up with the middle class. Once we have the middle class running, the country will run. Now, the other thing that I think is very important in making sure that South Africa works, or Gauteng, where I will actually be focusing. I will turn Gauteng into an agricultural industry. We've got land that is sitting there. We've got land that doesn't work. You know, there was a time when I was MMC of the city of Johannesburg. And next to places like Diepsloot and all those things, there is a big vegetable garden that has been started there that is actually financed by a foreign country and so on. The people that are coming away from, that are coming from countries like the Limpopo and all those are coming, they hit the area of Midrand first before they come in. And all what they know is agriculture. Take that skill that these people are having, develop on it, make sure that these people are actually productive. You take the same produce that, products that they have, send them to the Johannesburg market for these people to get money out of these things. And these are things that I actually emphasized when I was an MMC in Johannesburg to say, we have to get this fresh produce market running, and we cannot only depend on developed farmers only, but we must also raise other farmers, especially from the Black communities. And go and look at that thing. It's running so smooth. And I think people who have taken over from me are taking care of that, because that is a product that is assisting so many people. But also, what I don't understand, we've got minerals. We are sitting on minerals here in Gauteng. We are processing minerals, but there is no mineral school for our young people. Why are we not coming up with these mineral schools where you'll be saying diamond cutting, will be done, young people will be trained on those minerals, where you'll be exposing people to the processing of minerals like platinum that is being done here in Springs. You can't just, most of us are sitting on this product, have never seen gold in our own hands. It is time to say I mean, if you are a smart government in Gauteng, to say, let's introduce our young people to this field. Let them know how to cut diamonds. If you can go to diamond cutting works there in Johannesburg, you'll find old people, in their 70s, in their 80s, in this industry. Our young people are left behind. These are things that I believe that South Africa, and Gauteng especially, needs to flourish and needs to make sure that our economy grows. We should not be happy to get containers coming into Gauteng, but we must be the people that are sending containers out of Gauteng to other countries. And secondly, I will look so well after the land that we have, and making sure that this land is used profitably. The buildings that we have in Johannesburg, in Germiston, Kempton Park, all those places that are abandoned, instead of allowing people to hijack these buildings, take control, change them into residential areas, make sure that those buildings are offices where people can actually rent and do their products. I went to China the other day, and what I saw there, your people that are in informal trading, what we call what do you call them? These people that are sitting beside the streets and so on. They have all been housed in government buildings. You don't find them sitting in the... Now, for example, at level 1, you'll find people that are selling maybe shoes. Level 2, people that are selling clothes. On level 3, you'll find people that are selling vegetables. On level 4, you'll find... That is the modern South Africa that we need, rather than having our informal traders sitting in the streets with their own products being banned by the sun, with no fridge and all those kind of things. We have to get Gauteng where it is supposed to be. Now, these are the ideas that I can bring. These are the ideas that I think Gauteng needs. But having said that, I will also look into issues of crime, because that is the D thing. The little young girl has just died, running to his father, and criminals just took her life. That is happening all over. People's cars are hijacked, everything. Crime is a thing that we have to look into here in this country. And how do we combat that? Number one, there is no police academy in the entire Gauteng. We have just seen what the present premier did. He just collected some boys and girls with less training and sent them to go and combat crime. That is not how to do it. Establish facilities. The little facility that we had in Hammanskraal that produced so many police and everything is closed and is no longer used for that purpose. The police are now taken and being trained by individuals that have never been police before. They are running with this thing. This thing is now given out as tenders. We need the generals, people who have been in the police industry, to come and train the police and give them the expertise and the experience that they have already gone through. But the other thing, I don't understand when why companies like your steel companies, steel manufacturing companies are closed in this country. Steel is responsible for its infrastructure. Our infrastructure is getting rotten. The Johannesburg freeways are getting dilapidated. You know what is the reason? The reason is that they are actually, the steel that is being used there is getting rotten. But you know what is the main thing? There is a company in Vereeniging, there's a company in Germiston, Score, and then the other one, ACL Metal in Germiston, in Vanderbilt, are ignored. They have been sold to individuals. The government is no longer investing in this important product that we as South Africans, we are having our own iron ore that is going through to Richards Bay, and that is being taken out of the country. We must use that iron ore to do and produce our own steel for infrastructure, for building, and help Africa with the products that come from this country. You just have to think out of the and make sure that you are pulling and make sure that these things are done properly. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ntade. So we've spoken about the issue of economic development in Gauteng, but Gauteng has been grappling with also a high unemployment rate, currently at 33.7%, I think the third highest in the country. What specific strategies does COPE propose to address this pressing issue?
The first thing, I will use the state resources. I will influence the Minister of Defense to say, let's have these young people taken to a military conscription. That is what this country needs. Because once you take them there are so many skills that they are going to learn for free because military offers those things. Without making them to be fighters and to be people that are actually fighting, it's important that we train them in that field. But also, there are skills that are available there, like building, like motor mechanics, like manufacturing of Caspers and all those kind of things. These are things that our young South Africans must actually lay their hands on. And you'll be taking them away from the street and making sure that these people are actually active in skill developments and so on. So that's the first thing that I will do to fight unemployment, because Once they come from military conscription, some will start their own businesses, some will go back to school to enhance the trade that they got, some will actually be useful even to be in the field of combating crime, because there you would have given them the love for their country, patriotism. That will help them to defend their communities. That will help them to defend their families. That will help them to defend their country. Now, a lot of young people will go through that because there are no jobs. But when they come back, they will be useful for the country.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now on to the education system, right? Gauteng education system faces a lot of challenges like overcrowded classrooms, shortage of resources, and the recent alarming cases of mental health issues and student suicides. What specific policies and strategies does COPE propose to improve the quality of education, ensure equitable access to educational opportunities, but also take care of the mental health wellness of the learners?
You know that, Gauteng, the schools in Gauteng are actually in townships are empty. People are now flocking to what we call urban areas, the suburbs, schools, and so on. With so much technology, I will cut that off. I will make sure that the best science teachers are actually exposed to, these children are exposed to best science teachers, best mathematics teachers. You just connect this thing, some of the classes, electronically, you put all the necessary things there, and you make sure that those classes are working. There is no longer transport of people coming out of the township and going back, because that is exposing our children to so many things, accidents. It is exposing them to less sleep. They come late, they go back home, they leave home early. Now, you have cut all this, and then the state facilities, the schools that have already been built, are back to the use again. So the teachers that you are having are there now to supervise what the learners are doing and giving more attention to the learners, to assist them, rather than trying to teach them when we can get the best teachers with best equipments, and that can interact with the best teachers that the country can offer.
Many people argue that the reason why this such flocking to suburban schools is because of the overcrowding in the township schools, and two, the lack of resources. I mean, having gone to a township school myself, we've experienced that quite a lot. What would you say could be done to actually remedy that?
I have a personal or a family business that is actually assisting in education. I go to all the best countries, different countries, and see how they do their education. Education is now on gadgets, Education is now on gadgets. If you put your interactive gadgets where children can actually sit, ask the questions to the lecturer or to the teacher, and try and get things understanding. Why will they have to leave Soweto or leave your Mamelodi and all those kind of? They will stay there because they have teachers that are assisting them there. and they will do this. Now, the same overcrowding that we are running away from is actually going to the suburb schools, and we are leaving the township schools empty. What a loss on that investment that the government has done. You know, we need to use things differently. And the very same, the best teachers that you have, you can't just keep them in government school, in suburb schools. Spread them all over, you know, spread them, make sure that children have, because they are running to suburb schools in search of what we call best teachers, you know. Let's get them all spread. Let's get, you know, what is the problem that we have right now? I am a trained professional teacher. Those facilities are all taken away by this government. We need to have these facilities where teachers have been trained, where we know that your nursing schools are available for this, medical schools, you know, at the level of nursing and so on. These are things that we have to do and take them away from the tender systems, because there we know what happens. If I have money, I will rush through that manual so that nobody understands. Nobody get full education, because I would have got my money. But also, I will also look at making sure that we enhance things like homeschooling. You know, homeschooling is so important for us and our children, because I have one of the grandchildren that attended the homeschool. It was four of them at a high school level, and that changed the way that child was thinking. And then the child is excelling. He's now doing his honors in the university as a product of a homeschooling. We are having mothers that that have committed to be with their children and all of that. Why don't you expose these people to homeschooling and so on? We have actually taken away, a lot of responsibility from parents being involved in their children's education, and that is why we have made a big mistake. But also, try and have your technical schools. There is no longer anything, as far as I know, in Gauteng, coming from the teaching background, something like called a technical high school. I don't see those things any longer. It is because we have people who were clerks in their jobs, running as MECs of education, running as ministers, people who have never been exposed to education. They only were exposed when they were going through, learning some other things. It is the same thing that we are experiencing with all the sectors, including building, Rorisan. Today, a school teacher has a construction building, a construction company. And that is why we experience, the problems that we are experiencing right now. Professionalism has been taken out of everything that we do as a country. But if we can do that, we can be stronger. As much as I love my mother, I cannot operate my mother when she is sick. I cannot. I will not even attend, because I'm not trained as somebody that can do that. Why do we have these builders who are untrained, who do not know what to do, doing that kind of a job? It is just to put systems in the right place to get this important province running and making sure that it's going back to where it was, and to be a province of opportunities and a province where people know that they will achieve more if they associate themselves with this program.
Okay, thank you. Now, Gauteng's healthcare system has been strained, especially post the COVID-19 pandemic. What measures does COPE intend to implement to strengthen the healthcare system and ensure better access to quality healthcare services?
Today we are having the president of South Africa signing what is called NHI, when we cannot even deal with the potholes in our streets. It is a problem. It is something that NHI is going to cause so much disaster. I don't have the details as yet, but I'm told that even if I don't have a medical aid, I can now go to a private hospital. It's a joke because because some of the private hospitals are private. Most of them are private, and we don't even have enough budget to do that. Our provincial hospitals and government hospitals are standing there with no medicine, no professional doctors, with 7 million doctors still looking for a job. Then you want to come with a smart thing that you have copied somewhere in a first world country, and this is something that we should have been sitting down and talking about as South Africans. Educate the people on this NHI. Don't just say there is NHI and I'm going to sign it, a week before the national elections to gain more votes. No, educate your people. Make sure that the people understand the whole thing. Make sure that that grain is sitting at, in an informal settlement somewhere. Understand what she is about to be exposed to. Now, again, medical equipment are not even enough in our hospitals. And then we are coming up with this brilliant idea. I will first concentrate on making sure that all government hospitals are working, that I have a budget for paying the doctors and giving them good salaries, because those are people that have spent years and years getting knowledge of helping our people. I will make sure that our hospitals, government hospitals, that are well maintained first, and even look into making sure that if need be, because there is a need, new hospitals are being built. I was in Alexander the other day, and I asked people there, where do you go when somebody is sick? Do you have a hospital around here? The oldest township in Johannesburg, Alexander, the oldest township, doesn't have an hospital, but you come up with a fancy concept, It is not what we have to be rushing on. Let's make sure that this people have access to facilities that are working, that our own clinics are working. So that's how I will fix it. Maintain the old infrastructure, make sure that the hospitals have medication, make sure that the professional doctors are there, and make sure that, other new hospitals are built so that they can accommodate all these people, and make sure that at the last, make sure that every clinic works as a clinic.
In COPE's manifesto, you emphasize the need for efficient public service delivery and combating corruption, right? That is, I think, a big cornerstone that COPE stands on. What concrete steps does the party plan to take to enhance service delivery, to promote transparency, which is a big one, and to combat corruption within the Gauteng department?
We have seen as Congress of the People that corruption is not only to steal taxpayers' money. If you go to these government facilities, you get people who have qualifications that are actually fraudulent qualifications. It's a new kind of fraud that is coming in. And these are the people that are sitting in top government positions and stealing money by wrong qualifications. That has to be given attendance to. Your officials are the most corrupt in this system. That is the pollution that affects every one of us, that I will start to address and make sure that the necessary companies are actually taking care of giving us cleaner water, giving us water that is dangerous to us. But coming to the factories that we are having that are increasing to pollution, that we look into and modernize our factories and make sure that most of our factories are actually becoming, adopting to greener solutions than just leaving them as traditional as they are. But also pollution that comes through the care to our environment. If you go to any township, you'll find townships so dirty, and you'll find townships looking like they are actually places where rubbish has to be dumped. They look like yeah. But having said that, that is where we start. Those are kind of pollution that I will deal with, and our environment is polluted so badly, and this is not how things should be. I was just I submitted the motion in our municipal council as a party, where we were saying we should also try and be wiser, where we can actually make sure that the upcoming farmers, who are dealing with livestock, they are not having their livestock mingling with the the township residents, because that by itself is a health havoc. You know, where we have pigs walking around the streets and all those things. So these are things that I think we should take care of to assist our environment to be cleaner and assist our environment to be suitable for all our people staying in the townships and so on.
Thank you, sir. And again, should you be successful in the upcoming elections and taking over as Gauteng Premier, what about the ongoing initiatives that are, already making headway in terms of solving some of the province's most pressing issues? Initiatives like Panyaza Lisufi Ikrashnolova one for youth upskilling and employment. Would you and your team rather build on that, or is it going to be a total overhaul, starting afresh, building from the ground sort of takeover?
Look, some of the ideas that are there are not wrong. They just need to be overhauled. They need a new injection of thinking and so on. But the problem is they have been done for wrong purposes, for electioneering. They have been done for, just making sure that people are just seen to be doing something. Now, what we have to do, I mentioned earlier to say, when we are talking about issues that will assist us with crime, we don't just collect young people from the streets, from their homes, and say, as from tomorrow, you will be combating crime. We are actually exposing them to danger. We are actually we're putting their lives on the line, because we must give them proper training first. And when I talk about training, I talk about training that will help them to be able to deal with the criminals that are actually armed more than they are armed. Now, one of the things that I criticize most on the idea that our premier came up with is the fact that these young people that have been pulled from the streets they don't even have the powers to arrest. So what kind of crime fighters are those? If you can't arrest somebody that you actually are seeing performing some crime, now you have to run to the police station to call a policeman to say, come and assist me to arrest this person. These are actually things that, these are ideas, good ideas that needs to be polished and make sure that they are assisting us. Don't do them for the sake of doing them and for the sake of electioneering.
Okay, well, that's very clear. Now, a pressing concern has been the potential for a coalition government. So, as a potential premier, how do you envision fostering collaboration and cooperation with other political parties and stakeholders? Should Gauteng be governed by a coalition after the upcoming elections?
We have seen parties going into negotiations of coalitions even before the elections happen. And as Congress of the People, we said, look, this is actually something that must be done after you got the mandate from the voters. You cannot just sit there and say, as from, when the elections come, you need to get your people that elected you, making an input into that, giving you a mandate, a fresher mandate to say, when you go there, these are the things that we want you to represent us with. And you must also look at the things that you are actually, that are common to your perspective, common to your policies, common to your manifesto. Then you bring them together. And where you don't have that, every party must bring a piece of their manifesto where you can actually prioritize these things and say, we've got 10 priorities or 15 priorities that we have to start with, and then these are the next things. Now, these kind of coalitions where people are actually hustling for power rather than giving the people government that they need, and services that they need, are wrong. We must still go and learn from other countries that have been in coalitions for a very long time. These coalitions where you'll have a mayor elected in 3 mayors, in 2 years, and in all the municipalities. You can look into Tshwane, you can look into Ekurhuleni, you can look into Johannesburg. Mayors are just changed like nobody, because it is more of a power struggle than, saying, here we are, we have common approach, common things. We agree that there will be no stealing of public money. We agree that there will be service for our people. We agree that we'll bring a cleaner government, and so on and so on. Those things are not looked into. People are just coming together, ganging up, waking each other at night. Hey, will you be part of us, and so on? We'll give you this and we'll give it that. That is not how coalitions should be approached in the view of Congress of the People. We think that you need to put, to bring people that you agree on policies together, and those people must be able to talk to their voter to say, this is what we are going to give you, as you have not given any one of the parties a mandate to can run the government. So a party in a coalition that has 50 members, or let me say 30 members, is as good as the one that has one member, because nobody has got the mandate to run. So you can come and say, hey, we are 30, and then you start saying this is a ANC-led government or DA-led government. You are wrong. You are leading nobody, because you didn't get mandate. So these coalitions, according to us, must be given a common name, because different parties are coming together to deliver a service for the people. And that is the concept that we will take to the legislature. And that's the concept that we will also propose to the legislature, to say, we will only talk about coalitions once the people have given us the mandate.
Fair enough, fair enough. I think we're closing up. The last question. Now, looking towards the future, what do you hope to achieve as Gauteng Premier, and what legacy do you aspire to leave behind in terms of governance and service delivery in the province?
Look, the first thing, I will be happy to see a Gauteng that is crime-free, a Gauteng that is working for the people, a Gauteng that has less number of people in the street, a Gauteng that has most of their people employed and working. But above all, I would like to see a a Gauteng that is strong economically. That is exactly what I want to see, because once you do that, you are actually giving the people the reason to partner with government to make sure that the government goes forward. But as I close, I want to say, it is actually very important for us not only to look into, the bigger economy. This thing that is called township economy, according to us, it's an economy that says bring factories closer to the townships. It is an economy that says let's get the township people participating in sharing of the economy and sharing of the country's produce, and then also making sure that these spaza shops that we have are actually handed over to the people in the, to the residents of the townships and to South Africans. Rory, there is this thing, I was surprised to see that the economy that is being pushed by townships throughout the country makes 150 billion rand per annum. 150 billion rand. And Pick n Pay throughout the country makes about 80 billion rand. Spar make around 38 billion rand. Now, both Spar and Pick n Pay can't match what spaza shops are producing. And going further, we have given that industry to foreigners that are taking cash. It's a cash business. Nobody is swiping anything in the at the spaza shop. It's a cash business. Now, where we are entrusting the cash of the country to the foreigners, whether they are taking it out of the country with suitcases, nobody knows. They are not paying tax. They are not employing anybody. They stay and sleep in their shops, to make sure that they don't share the resources that are coming in with the residents or the people that are giving them money. Lastly, they have these products that are sitting there. We don't know where they are being manufactured from. The biscuits that they are selling, the cold drink that they are selling, everything that is in there is being manufactured where we don't know. Cutting away people from employment, South Africans from employment, and sharing from the 150 billion rand that we are actually getting out of this industry. That is a shame. I'm not even talking about the tax that they are supposed to be paying so that it can come back and help build the clinics, build the schools, make South African to thrive. That is a mistake that we must never allow in this country. Give these spaza shops to people that have got documents, and you must give it to people that are South Africans. Empower them, teach them how to run businesses, come up with institutions that will teach them on bookkeeping, institutions that will train them on skills of running businesses and so on. But the way things are, we are actually destroying this country, and we will never get anything out of it. But people that are illegal will benefit more than the original people of this country. And it is a sad state of affairs. all these things that I've been talking about of spaza shops being run by foreigners brings us to what if we are allowing this illegal and undocumented foreigners to come in the country. What are we actually doing? Because these are people that we have to take care of medically when they are sick. We should give them schools. We should provide their children with food at school and buy them textbooks and everything. And then after that, the same people, some of them or most of them, do not see this thing as productive as possible. Now they are bringing drugs in the country. They are now targeting the same schools where our children are to sell the drugs. There's a school in Boxburg that invited me as a counselor to say, can you please come and assist? Because we are having these people sitting around the schools here you know, these are the people that we suspect that they are selling drugs to. They are targeting these children for selling drugs to them, you know. Now, that is what happens when you keep illegal immigrants. Your zamazamas are a product of of uh, of uh, of uh, illegal immigrants. That industry of taking gold and minerals out of the mines illegally, it's said to be a 41 billion industry. Nobody gets a tax out of that. Nobody knows who are these people, why are they doing this thing. This gold and minerals that they are taking in our countries, they are finding their way to Dubai, and we are having this thing and resources of the country that are supposed to be benefiting our people are being stolen in that manner of Zamazama by armed men. We know what they did in Krugersdorp, where they raped even women that are there, you know. And they are not only into that, but they are also into the heists, you know. They, you know, blowing I can assure you, you can't take a child from Zola in Soweto and say, go and stop that car with armed people there, because he doesn't even know how to operate a bomb. These are trained people. Who train them? They come from military, from their own countries and so on. Now, they are doing these things and it's becoming danger to the country. Number three, these cable thefts of electricity. Do you think it's a child coming from Mamelodi doing that? He doesn't even have the skills to do so. It is somebody who got some training of some kind, who knows how to handle this cable, what is it used for, what is it meant with, and so on and so on. And they are collaborating with corrupt people, of course, in the country that wants to get more jobs and so on. But the deep people that are actually ruining our country are these illegal immigrants. And if Coke takes over, if you commit such a crime of take or stealing, assets of the country like that, that will be, equivalent to fighting the state. That will be equivalent to what do they call it?
Treason.
Come again?
Is it treason?
To treason. you're right. It will be equivalent to treason. You can't be allowed to just go out there and mesmerize the electricity, the robots, and everything, traffic lights that we have in the country for you to go and sell that thing for yourself or take it out of the country for that matter. So this is how far COPE can assist the people of Gauteng. We've got the ideas, we can implement them, we know what we are talking about, and we can actually make sure that Gauteng, borrowing from Donald Trump, Gauteng is great again.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time. It has been an honor, a very big honor talking to you. I enjoyed that chat actually. Thank you for making the time. I think this is all we have time for today. It took up more time than we actually anticipated we would, but I enjoyed our chat so much.
Thank you, Rory-san, and
Have a great
thank you
rest of your
for
day.
interviewing me. All
Thank you,
right.
sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.